Tonight, fertiliser manufacturer fined, Knees of Fury comes to Hamilton, and long-term plan for Tauranga. Kia ora and good evening. Welcome to Central News on TV Central for Thursday, the 26th of March. I'm Amanda Harper. In today's news, fertiliser manufacturer Balance Agri-Nutrients has been fined $60,000 for a discharge of sulphur dioxide into the air in May last year. Bay of Plenty Regional Council prosecuted the company in Tauranga District Court for breaching the Resource Management Act. The charge arose from an incident when port workers suffered breathing difficulties, watering eyes, sore throats and coughing from a discharge of sulphur dioxide from Balance's plant. On 4th of May 2014, 2 employees at the port noticed the smell of gas, and after experiencing ill effects when they opened a window, they notified port security. 3 fire engines attended and the gas was traced to the nearby Balance plant on Hewletts Road. 9 port workers were affected, 1 sought medical attention, and the Regional Council was notified that afternoon. Judge Jeff Smith says that Balance fertiliser plant was within a sensitive environment close to the port and busy roads, and there was a risk of effects on the public from the plant, particularly people working in the open. Child Matters founder and chief executive Anthea Simcock was awarded an honorary degree from Wintec this week in recognition of a lifetime dedicated to preventing child abuse in New Zealand. Mrs. Simcock was honoured to have been selected as this year's recipient of an honorary of applied science presented during Wintec's Centre for Health and Social Practice and School of Education graduation ceremony. She joins an alumni of honorary fellows and degree recipients, including Sir William Gallagher, Sir Edmund Hillary, Sir Henry van der Heyden and Daniel Vittori. Mrs. Simcock co-founded the Hamilton-based organisation Child Matters in 1994, responding to the lack of knowledge around recognising and responding to child abuse. Since then, Child Matters has led the way in advocating for the rights of children and educating adults to prevent child abuse. Wintec's Chair of Council, Mary Cave Palmer, says Mrs. Simcock's achievements over the years have been remarkable. She says thanks to her passion and drive, she has made significant steps towards raising awareness of child protection issues while building a culture where prevention of child abuse is seen as everyone's responsibility. A Matakana Island resident with breathing difficulties was flown from the island to Tauranga Hospital last night by the Tauranga-based Trustpower Tech rescue helicopter at about 6 o'clock. Pilot Liam Brett Kelly says the man suffered serious respiratory difficulties from a pre-existing medical condition. It was dispatched due to difficulties getting off the island after hours and the potential seriousness of the man's condition. The man in his 60s was flown directly to the hospital for further treatment. Secondary school art from Waikato, Coromandel and Newmarket in Auckland are being exhibited in readiness for auction and judging. The competition, which is being supported by Creative Waikato and sponsored by Patterson Burn Optometrists, is being held for the 3rd year. There are 60 entries in this year's awards, 3 more than last year. The artwork will be exhibited online at pattersonburn.co.nz and also in Patterson Burn branches before being shown at the Creative Waikato Gallery in Alexander Street in Hamilton City. Senior Patterson Burn Optometrist partner Adrian Patterson says the artwork competition is becoming an anticipated fixture for many secondary school art classes throughout the region. And now for the weather. Hamilton, early rain, then a shower or 2, dying northwesterly winds. High of 24 and low of 13. The rest of the Waikato will be the same. Paeroa at 23 and 14. Matamata 21 high and 14 low. Te Aomutu at 24 high and 13 low. Tokoroa 22 and 13 low. And in the Bay of Plenty, Tauranga 23 and 17 low. Expect early and late rain with dying northwesterly winds. Te Puke, your high is 22 and overnight low of 16. And for the marine forecast, on the west coast, Raglan easing Friday morning, variable 10 knots. Moderate northwest swell easing. High tide is at 4:40 in the afternoon. East coast, Bay of Plenty, a variable 10 knots, becoming late Saturday, westerly 20 knots. Moderate easterly swell easing tomorrow. High tide is at 1:48 p.m. Coming up in the show, Knees of Fury. Welcome back to Central News. Knees of Fury hits Hamilton this weekend for its 51st event. This show promises to be another cracker with fighters from all over New Zealand. We talked to promoter Ethan Shep ahead of the show.
When I finished fighting, I pretty much needed something to do, to be honest. I wanted something to just give me the, keep me on track and everything. Once you're fighting, you've always, you've got training to do, and once I didn't have that, I was a little bit lost, to be honest. And had some good fighters around me at that time, and there was no one doing any shows in Adelaide, so I thought, why not? Let's have a go at doing the promoter role, and just started out as a bit of fun, and 10 years later we're still going strong. So
how did you transition into the promoter role?
It's a good question. There's many things that are challenging. I mean, the number one would be the fighters, I guess. You're dealing with fighters, and in this sport, people get injured a lot. And sickness as well. So, to fight, you can imagine there's a lot of pressure on yourself, and you want to be in the best physical condition you can be. So, leading up to the fight, and most people get a bit of a fighter's flu, I call it, the week before, and they can panic and they pull out, and you've got to try to replace those. So, that would probably be the most challenging thing, I think, is making sure all the fighters all line up on the night.
For trainers who are taking part in the show, how much work do they put in training-wise?
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes in. It's a good 8-week build-up, and I always believe if they can get through the build-up, well, they'll get through the fight easy. So they're training, twice a day for 8 weeks, 6 days a week, so approximately about 3 hours a day, and it's a true test, mentally and physically, that's for sure. The fight's the easy part.
It must be become a very mental game by the end of it as they're getting closer to the fight.
100%. I mean, fighting, I believe, is 90% mental, 10% physical, so there's been a lot of fighters over the years that have been very fit, physically in, perfect condition they can, but not so mentally strong, and it's the mentally strong ones that can prevail, that's for sure.
Now, you yourself train a lot of these fighters. Do you feel for them on the night and get emotionally invested?
Yeah, I try my best not to, but you do. I mean, they're my extended family, and I love all these guys like they are my kids, so you spend a lot of time together, and you travel around together, and it's a good camaraderie that we've got in the gym, and I love it. It's my life, it's unreal.
Now, you own and run your own gym, House of Pain. I've got to ask, where does the name come from?
Yeah, House of Pain. Well, I don't know, I've been training people at my house for the last 6 years, and when I asked my kids, what do you reckon we should call our gym, guys, and my boy goes, oh, House of Pain, Dad. So House of Pain stuck, and it's pretty cool. And we all come out to the House of Pain song. All my boys come out, that jump. So on the night, the crowd gets right into it, and it's pretty cool. So.
Knees of Fury fights are known for their entertainment. What can we expect from the show, entertainment-wise? Yeah,
well, it'll be non-stop entertainment from 7:30 onwards. We don't muck around with any time breaks and all that sort of thing. It's fight after fight, and I don't like any dead sound on the night, if you understand what I mean. There's no a fight and then we have like a 5-10 minute break like a lot of shows do. I don't do that. We have a fight, we have dancers, we have pyro, we have flames. It's non-stop entertainment, so I try to bill Knees of Fury as more than just a fight night. It's a great night out for the whole family.
I just want to say welcome aboard to Miss Rachel Sutton. She is our new reporter and will be covering the Hamilton beat. She's going to be a great asset to the Central News team. In our next story, Tauranga City Council have released their consultation document for their long-term plan. Hillary spoke with Mayor Stuart Crosby to find out about Project Tauranga and the partnership with the long-term plan.
It's relatively independent, so the LTP indicates what Tauranga City Council is going to invest in the city, and Tauranga partnerships are about what they will do to add value to our city. So we're delighted to have about 40 to 50 city partners who assist the growth and development of the city, but it's in the areas of adding value to it and not subsidising what we should be doing in our role as a council.
By 2017, what will you expect Bay Venues will be doing?
Bay Venues is going very well. We had a report yesterday where it indicated they're ahead of budget in terms of revenue. After a year of transition, because it's a big organisation, it's a $20 million operational organisation, over $100 million worth of assets, they're going very well. We're very pleased with them. We've developed a very good working relationship with Bay Venues. We obviously own them. That's important to have that relationship. But they also have a degree of independence as well, and that's the key with a council-controlled organisation, that they work in the best interests of the council and the community. So we're very positive about Bay Venues. They've had a rocky road to date, but by and large, we're very pleased with their progress.
So you're quite happy with the way they've been performing so far in that year?
Well, yes, one of the benchmarks is nobody's rung me up to complain about the venues or the aquatic network, so that's a very good indication that things are going well. It's always a challenge, again, growing city, high demand for facilities and aquatic facilities as well, but they have a high level of expertise on their board, and they have a good management team. And so we're confident that together we'll move forward.
So there's been no letters to the editor about Bay Venues then?
No, and that's always another good benchmark. I think some of the grumpy old men are a little frustrated that it is going so well and disappointed that it's going so well, but that's their problem, not ours.
$2 million has been put aside for the development of the Phoenix car park. Is that going to be funded through development contribution, or is that more rates that's going to fund that?
In the main development contributions. So we'd collected over $5 million of development contributions in Mount North, we call it, which is the end of Mount Maunganui, as a result of the apartment developments mainly. And that was to provide green space. So a project that has evolved, and in fact it was initiated by one of the developers, was to turn part of the Phoenix car park into an open urban green space, so that'll be funded by development contributions. Also, of course, we have to find replacement car parks, so running parallel to that is a parking review strategy as well.
There seems to be a lot of funding allocated to the development of reserves and purchasing of land for reserves. Is that a new focus for the council?
No, it's not. It's business as usual. So since the 90s, when we've been growing, we've been actively buying land for future reserves while they're still farms, because the minute they become zone residential, the price goes up about fivefold. And so we actually have a number of reserves allocated for that. We're also going to sell some as well that aren't now required. But the biggest investment is in the Bethlehem area, and it's a reserve where we brought 2 kiwi fruit orchards called Parau Farms. So in this LTP, that will be developed into sports fields.
Hilary will be back with more after the break.
A big issue has been that stormwater and flooding. What's going to be proposed in this LTP? What's the changes?
It's quite a significant change, particularly in what we call our level of service and how we're going to address it. So for the last 2 years, we've done a lot of 2D modelling, which has indicated where the high-risk areas are. We're currently measuring all the floor levels of all the dwellings in those high-risk areas to confirm that. And what was indicated through our current pricing is that to remedy those properties to a high level of service would cost over $250 million. So that's financially not prudent, because it averages out each one at over $300,000 per home. And so we're not going to do that, because we can't afford to do that, and it's not wise to do that. So what we will be doing is making sure that people are protected through overland flow paths as a safety measure. That's our top priority, life. And then we'll work with the homeowners to find out where the best investment is to make sure that their properties are safe on a catchment by catchment basis. So we're not walking away from the issue. We've invested nearly $100 million already into flood protection, but we are going to change the level of service and that investment portfolio. So we're really looking forward to people's views on that.
Are you nervous about what the public will come back with about the flood protection?
No, historically it's been interesting. Those that are obviously in a high-risk area have a lot to say about it and are deeply concerned, and that's understandable. Those that are not are saying, well, why should I subsidise their particular homes? So, but our job is to take a balanced approach across the whole city, and so that's what we have been doing and will continue to do.
The rates levy that was put into place for 2014-15, that was a one-off. Is that going to happen again? In our LTP, we intend to utilise part of that to finish off the 2D modelling,
And we're also looking to use part of it to set aside in a special fund specifically to address flooding as we move forward over the next 10 years. We wish to build a fund up to about $20 million plus, so there is money available to react quickly as and when required.
On the other side of water issues, how's the Tauranga area looking for water supply?
Well, I think that's one of our success stories amongst others, and a lot of it had to do with the installation of water meters. Very controversial, but in our case it was the best move we ever made. That allowed us to delay a $65 million investment into our next, i.e. third, microfiltration water treatment station, which is going to be in the Waiari River, just south of Te Puke. And we've been able to delay that investment for nearly a decade because we put in water meters and put in other educational and conservation measures in. But the time is coming where we're going to have to exercise that resource consent, and that will be within this decade of our 10-year plan.
Will you be talking to Hamilton City Council and saying, hey, go ahead with those water meters?
I think you have to look at each area by each area and determine whether it's a good investment. It was probably with backflow prevention valves a $13 million project for us, but that was in the context of a $350 million investment in our water generally. For us, it worked and made considerable savings and brought a lot of fairness into the whole water exercise. People, you only pay for what you use. Also though, what we didn't realise, it also delayed investment in our wastewater treatment station, because what goes down the plug hole also has to be treated. And so it reduced volumes into our sewage plants. That extended their life as well, so it was a double positive whammy.
No airport walkway?
No, Tauranga Regional Airport actually won an award this year, which was tremendous for its operation. It generates a surplus of around $1.6 million. But looking into the 10-year plan and discussing it with the airport manager, we didn't see the value in a walkway around a busy airport at this point.
Visit tauranga.gov.nz to view the consultation document and for a submission form. In our last story, Neighbours Day Aotearoa 2015 is New Zealand's biggest celebration of neighbourliness on the 28th and 29th of March. We chat to Maretta Ford, Senior Community Advisor at the Hamilton City Council, to find out what's happening in Hamilton.
So Neighbours Day is an event that is run across the nation, encouraging people to be good neighbours. And I suppose, the years have rolled on and people have been, trying to do life and get on with life, but are kind of building huge fences around their own houses, and people are transient and moving around a lot, but forgetting to connect with their neighbours. So Neighbours Day is about just getting back to basics, getting to know your neighbour, and also not afraid to get to know your neighbour. Yeah, so Neighbours Day is about connecting with your neighbours.
Now, there are a number of organisations behind Neighbours Day. Can you tell us who they are and what role they play?
So Neighbours Day is run by Neighbours Day Aotearoa, and they've got 4 sponsors, which are Inspiring Communities, Mental Health Foundation New Zealand, LifeWise, and Neighbourhood Support.
And what is your specific role when it comes to Neighbours Day?
So Hamilton City Council obviously is supporting Neighbours Day, and we really want to support the cause because Neighbours Day is about connecting neighbours together, getting good community involvement with each other, and also that Council really finds value in when people know each other, they feel safer, they're engaged more in the city. So for Hamilton City Council, we can see the huge benefits of being involved in promoting Neighbours Day.
What particular challenges do you face in your role?
My role is hoping to coordinate a little bit for Neighbours Day in particular, but some of the challenges is basically just trying to get the message out and get people excited about it, because actually it's a basic thing about actually going to see your neighbour and knock on your door and say, hey, I'm Ma, I'm at 52. it'd be good to know you, and just that sounds really basic, but how do you get people excited about that? Like, some people are afraid. They've built such a myth in their head that then maybe their neighbour is, in some sort of gang, or I've seen some pretty shady cars come up the drive. So there's all these kind of perceptions that people have. So you just those are some challenging things that we're dealing with, but just trying to get people excited about getting to know your neighbour has been a challenge.
Now, on Saturday, you're holding a Neighbours Day meet and greet at a number of different libraries. What does this involve?
So from 10 o'clock, our neighbourhood libraries, Chartwell, St Andrews, Hillcrest, Dinsdale and the Glenview libraries, from 10 o'clock, they're encouraging the neighbours around their libraries to come down and meet each other, hang out in the library and say, hey, this is a good place to meet. For the libraries, it's also a really great place. Some people in their community might not have known that the library exists. And so for the library, again, this is an opportunity for them to engage with their local community. And hey, we're behind Neighbours Day and we want to know who our neighbours are as well. So 10 o'clock, go down and grab a coffee.
Now, another event you're holding is the Mahaui Park meet and greet. What's happening there?
Yeah, so Mahaui Park that's something personal to me, but I'm actually running it as part of Neighbours Day because where I live, my house backs onto that park. And so we've got 9 streets that I've colour-coded invites. So each street's got a colour, and I've invited them to bring that along to Mahaui Park and connect with their neighbours. So hopefully they bring their invite and they'll go, oh, you've got a red invite too. Oh, we must be in the same street. Oh, let's connect. Oh my goodness, we're neighbours. I know that sounds like really basic stuff, but yeah, that's one event that we're doing, which is the Street Connect. We've also got a bake-off, so people love baking. Hopefully an opportunity to, we've got a prize for the best baked goods. So, bragging rights is going to be pretty good to know that, in your street you're the best baker.
Neighbours Day 2015 is this weekend. To find out how you can join in your area or get more information, go online to neighboursday.org.nz. Thank you for watching Central News. We do post everything online on our website, tvcentral.co.nz, and also on our Facebook. Don't forget to like us. If you think you might have a story for us, email news@tvcentral.co.nz. I'll be back on screens tomorrow night with more stories from the Waikato and the Bay of Plenty. My name is Amanda Harper. Have a good night. Pō Marie.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.